Hey y'all, it's Hope at Crafty Hope. I hope y'all can hear me. I've got a window open because I burnt some polymer clay and yeah, I'm all over the place. So right now what I'm hoping to work on is the Mixed Media Menagerie for September 2022. The hosts are Laura, Nicole, and Erin, and they have a guest artist who is, I believe, Tracy. I'll have all of their links to their videos below so you can see what they made. But basically, they have 3 prompts for this month and encourage you to create an art journal. The hosts at least, use a specific art journal with mixed media paper in it. It is this size, but all I've done is taken a cheap little journal from the Dollar Tree that has like lined pages. I've glued a couple together and gessoed it, and that's what I'm going to work on. So let me tell you what the prompts are. The prompts are masking tape, so I've got a couple rolls of that, tags, so I've got several of those, and leaves. So I'm gonna approach this a couple ways. For one, I went out after seeing Tracy's video where she used leaves to do some stamping. I decided I'd grab some leaves and my gel press plate. This is, I don't even remember, 6x8, 4x6, something like that. And I'm gonna gel print on top of both my tags and these papers. So that's the plan right now. So I'm gonna get started with the jelly printing on things and then move to the journal. Hopefully this will not be a forever long video. So I did cut this down a little bit because the process for gel press printing is pretty basic. I'm taking it out of the package. I picked what side because I've damaged one side of my gel plate. So I'm doing the other, and what I'm going to do for all of these is I'm going to pick 2 different colors of green paint. I've pulled out several different. In this case, there's like an olive and a light green, and I'm just going to put them down on the plate. So like I said, I'm using several different shades, so what you'll see in the end are not these 2 particular colors. I just wanted green leaves. I know that the hosts and everybody kind of went with a fall theme, but I live in South Alabama and everything will be green still here for months. So once I get my paint down, brayered out, I put down my leaves. I didn't brayer all of them. It didn't work so great on there. And then I'm going to pick up a print onto either the book pages or the tags, just like that, and get something on there. And then I will put the leaves down onto the paper just to see if I can get a print of it. I did all the leaves, putting them down on that same piece of paper, so that worked out kind of neat. It wasn't great. Not a lot of paint came off of those. So, and in this round of the gel printing, I'm go ahead and put the tags down. For the rest of them, now that I've got the tags done, I'm just going to use the book pages. And I repeat that process for several pages, y'all. I'll show you in a second what I end up with. So not much came off of that. I think my paint was starting to dry, but I got some pretty good prints on my tags. I'm pretty happy with that. So there's my tags and the papers I ended up with. So I wanted y'all to just see how those did. Not all of it, and that was my roll-off paper. I'm not going to use that. So here we go. I'm going to jump in my journal, and first thing I'm going to do are use some of the papers that I gel printed to collage. Now, I did just see Nicole's video and noticed that when she went to collage, she tore off like the blank edges of the paper that she went to collage down, and I love that. I'm always fighting with those blank edges of paper when I put them in my journal, and I hate to waste things, but I don't know. I liked that she did that, and so yeah, I'm totally gonna start doing that now. I've sped up my collage quite a bit, but I'm just using my Uhu glue stick to stick these jelly printed papers down. I'm also going to add in a bit of it's a music paper. I think it's an old hymnal that I'll put down too, just to have a little bit of something else besides the book paper as my collage. You'll see. But like I said, I'm just kind of going through this. I got a few really neat prints. This one in particular came out really well. It was some kind of random plant in my yard and a hydrangea leaf. So yeah. So I was picking, y'all should see me out my yard. Everything, it just rained. Everything was wet, but I was picking through the yard trying to find leaves that I thought were really pretty and what I would get a really good print from. So it was interesting. I could have used a stencil with leaves on it because y'all saw I had that. But I kind of really like I think it's Tracy's idea where she used actual leaves. So that kind of led me down this path. All right, this is that little bit of whatchamacallit, hymnal paper that I'm putting down, and now I'm going to bring in my masking tape. So you saw I had two different kinds. I've got a wider one and a thinner one. Both of them I'm just going to tear down and start putting around on the page. I'm trying to fill in some of those super white places, and I'll go once I get some down in a few places, I'll come back in with more of it and lay it on top of it. Now, this is a technique I think I have seen Nina Fickett use because it makes a really great texture. And y'all, it's probably one of my favorite things. I hope you can see it in my close-up photos at the end. It gives some really yummy collage. So there I've put down more of that wider tape. I think I'm still putting down the wide tape. Yeah. And I'm going to come in with my thinner tape. And then it's not super thin, it's just regular sized. And it's from the Dollar Tree. So no big deal. And like I said, I'm just layering it on top of itself just to get some really yummy texture on all of my pages. At all of my pages. Yeah, I guess on all of my pages. Just get some yummy texture in there because I wanted to use some spray inks. I'm trying to think. Both, two of the hosts used some Lindy spray, and I know it was Erin, and I can't think who else. But they used some Lindy sprays in theirs. And I thought, ooh, that could be really fun. So I pulled out some greens and some browns. First, the Lindy's I used, I've got them here so I can remember. Ponderosa Pines Olive and Rusty Lantern Lime. So I sprayed the Rusty Lantern Lime down first and then the Ponderosa Pines. And I'm just going to wet that with my spray and kind of move it around a little bit. And you'll see that. I didn't want big drips or anything, but you can already see how some of that spray is already accenting the layers of masking tape. So I'm going to go ahead and am I going to move this some more? No, I think I'm going to go ahead and dry it. Now, the one thing I do have to say with masking tape and using a heat gun is that the tape will want to come unstuck and peel up. So keep an eye on that if you do use this method. Because I was fighting it every time I dried anything. So once I got that all dry, I did add some Distress Stain and Tea Dye. I used Distress Oxide Spray and Walnut Stain, and then a Lindy's spray in Steampunk Sepia. So I just kind of put those down. I'm going to spray this and move it around and take a look at it and decide that I don't have enough dark kind of at the bottom, especially on that bottom right. So I'll add a little bit more, I think, of the Distress Oxide in the walnut stain. I love the Distress Oxide sprays. I love Distress Oxides in general, but the sprays are really great because they get like a variation in color. So that walnut stain gets like a white to it almost. So I'm going to let this drip off the page a little into my flour sack towel there. And I didn't want the drip marks, so I'm trying to make sure those get moved around. All right, and I'm going to try again and try to keep my tape from peeling up. All right, so I wanted to bring leaves kind of back into it. I've lost it a little bit and for some reason decided to take my Stabilo All Pencil in black and just do almost kind of a fern, but not really. Just a random botanical. I'm going to draw two of them here on the right side and then another one over on the left. And I was trying to keep this kind of as loose as possible, but drawing exact things really isn't my forte. I'm more of a doodler. So I did activate these just to make sure the color popped out quite a bit. And I'm already starting to realize that this is getting super dark on me. I do like the Stabilo All and the black and all of that because I knew I needed some black on here. But the whole thing is feeling really dark on me. So I'm going to struggle with trying to fix that here in just a little bit. You'll see all of it. Yeah, but I do love the way the Stabilo activates. I'm trying to remember what it is I do next on here. Oh, okay. I decided I needed a little more texture in the background, so I grabbed a text stamp. Y'all, I can't even tell you what text stamp this is. It's something I've had for ages and ages, and some black stays on, and I'm just putting that around in the background to add a little more texture. I know. There's all that collage. It's got plenty of texture, but I needed to kind of bring something a little more forward and add a little more like dark black on there. So the next thing I wanted to do was add some white. Oh, I did try to get a little bit of the stamp onto my tags as well, just so that kind of would carry through, but it's kind of super faint. Now to lighten this up, the first thing I'm going to do is use some Liquitex acrylic ink in titanium white and just splash that around on my page. Since I do have those sprays on the page though, especially the distress products, kind of soak up that color. I don't know how else to explain it. It like reactivates the distress oxides and they eat that white. So I'm going to put it down. And I'll end up putting another layer of this white down later, y'all, because it like disappears. It soaks almost directly into, I mean, some of it's really good, but some of it's just gone. I decided to start trying to look at my cards, my tags. I keep wanting to call cards, my tags a little bit, and I'm not going to do a whole lot to them. But I do bring out some more Distress Oxide, this time the stamp pad in Walnut Stain. And I tried to kind of bleed it out with this cosmetic brush, and it didn't really do as much as I wanted to do. So I'm going to go ahead and activate it with some water and let it just age the edges a tiny bit so that it has a little more, I don't know, definition and grunginess. I do love my grunginess. I do. So I'll do that to both cards. And I don't know, I love these tags just as they are. And I decided I was just going to use one of the smaller ones and not both of them. And so, yeah, I'm going to activate. I had a little more trouble with this one. I don't know if I didn't get as much ink on it or what, but it just wasn't bleeding near as much as the first one did. So I had to play with it a little bit. And that may be it. I didn't have enough water on brush. I don't know what it was. And I knew at this point my video was getting good and long, and I know y'all will watch me. Y'all have told me before, y'all don't care, but it bothers me. And at first I thought I was going to put my tags over on the right side of the page, but once I had drawn those botanicals, I knew it was going to have to be the left side. And I looked at this for a little while, and I think here's where I decided I needed more white, that all that white had got eaten up. So I'm going to splatter some more, try not to dilute. I didn't dilute it that time with spray, hoping that that would help it pop a bit. And then I'm going to dry this. And while I'm drying it, it hits me that I could add more white into this by putting white within the leaves of those botanicals I drew. So I grab a Posca paint pen in white, and I kind of got it all over my desk, so I'm going to be dipping into that. And I'm going to accent the inside of each of the leaves. And when that doesn't quite do it for me, I'm going to give them a highlight, just almost like a shadow, just on like one side of everything, if that makes sense. You'll see me do it here in a second. So yeah, first things first, getting the white in the leaves. But again, I wanted to brighten this up a little. You can see I left white space around the edges. That's been kind of my jam the last couple times in this journal, because the other pages I did toward the beginning felt so heavy that I didn't want it to be too heavy. So here's where I'm kind of giving this highlight to just like one side of everything, like the underside of the leaves and the right side of the stem, if that makes sense. But it helped. It helped bring that white back in and brighten things up just a bit. And the tags help too, because the tags are white. So now it's time to really kind of focus on the focal. For a second I thought I might use that extra paint over there. And I look at it and I knew I really just needed like a word or something on it. And I could go dig in my stash and stamps and all of that. But I decided no, I would just write it myself. So I've got my Stabilo all, and I'm going to write the simple word grow. Since I've got all these botanicals on here, it just seemed the best and easiest thing to do. So I'm going to write that on the tag and activate it with a really thin wet paintbrush. And I end up adding the serifs, the little marks across the letters, but just with like the shadow of the what's left on my paintbrush of the Stabilo. All right, and once that's done, I'll use my Ooh glue stick to glue the smaller tag to the larger one. And then I'll grab some it's just some tacky glue from the dollar store and I'll use the tacky glue to glue into my spread. And that will be it. I'm going to give y'all some looks at this. Hopefully you can see some of the details, especially of that masking tape. Like I said, that's kind of my favorite part of this. Let me know if you have any questions, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Go check out the hosts and use the hashtag MMMSEP22 if you play along, or if you want to see what everybody else does with these 3 prompts. You can find that here on YouTube and especially over on Instagram. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching. Bye.